Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today to take a first look with some exclusive in-person video at the brand new Lamborghini Huracan STO. The STO, the Super Trofeo Omologato, is based on the Super Trofeo EVO race car, but this time for the road, a stripped out, lightweight, thoroughbred super sports car, and just look at this thing. We've been waiting to see it, and today we'll take a first look, go through all of the details, and talk a bit about whether this could be my first Lambo, maybe a future Shmeemobile. Let's check it out then, the new Lamborghini Huracan STO. What we're looking at here is the craziest and most extreme variant of the Lamborghini Huracan. Now, the Huracan has been a hugely successful model for Lambo, but throughout its lifetime it's been the baby sibling to the Aventador. But when you look at this car, the STO, it has well and truly grown up. This is a brutal and menacing, lightweight, track-focused weapon. It's a collaboration between Lamborghini's design division, Centro Stile, and their motorsports department, Squadra Corse, to create an exclusive road-legal variant of the Super Trofeo EVO race car. It follows many motorsports inspirations, and in fact, it's incredible to see the number of design features and performance and technology features that have been inherited into the car from the racing experience, and it also pays tribute to Lamborghini's Huracan GT3 race cars, winning the 24 Hours of Daytona 3 times nonetheless. So we're going to take a proper look at this in detail, but effectively it's a lightweight, stripped out, heavily aerodynamic focused, hardcore version of the rear-wheel drive Lamborghini Huracan. It's based, of course, in many ways on the EVO platform, so the variant of the car with the updated interface on the interior, but also the general updates that have come with it, like the rear-wheel steering, and in the engine in particular, the 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10, now making 640 horsepower, as was previously seen as well in the EVO and also in the Performante, but never so much power in a purely rear-wheel drive model, and it still continues having the 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox as well. But it excels with so many new technologies. For example, the Cofango, the large carbon sandwich construction front shell. It has CCM-R brakes. It has new aerodynamic features, of course, a gigantic rear spoiler, many aerodynamic features around, a wider body, a wider track, and on the inside a cage and new bucket seats. So let's go through this then in detail from front to back. When you start at the front of the STO, the motorsport inspirations are immediately obvious. In fact, everything forwards of the A-pillar is one single front clamshell. It's made from a sandwich carbon fibre construction inherited from the aerospace engineering industry to both maintain the rigidity while also saving 25% of the weight. And in fact, 75% of the bodywork uses this technology. But up front, Lamborghini have called this gigantic single piece the Cofango. That's a combination of 2 Italian words, Cofano, which means hood, and Parafango, which means fender, but combining everything from the bumper to the bonnet to the side, even the louvres over the wheel arches are all connected in this one single piece that opens up towards the front, pivoting forwards, inspired by the likes of Lamborghini's legendary supercar of the 1960s, the Miura, and also the more recent Sesto Elemento, a project designed for the racetrack, weighing a mere 999 kilos, while also offering immense performance based on the Gallardo platform. This clearly takes inspirations from that as well, but a combination of this lightweight construction to help with the overall weight of the car, while also offering time-saving access, again from motorsport, to reach anything within that is required. The one sacrifice that is made, you might notice, gone is the traditional front storage space. In its place comes a small cubby to store a helmet, 38 litres of space, but you won't be taking this car on any road trips. There is no traditional luggage space available within. Moving towards the rear of the STO, we get to the business end, where there is a lot going on in terms of the aerodynamics and the design, and I think it would almost need to be seen in person to take in all of the details. The largest feature, of course, is the gigantic rear wing, and wings on cars seem to be getting larger and larger, but in this case we've got a double aerofoil, an adjustable section as well, and the end plates that cut back in underside as well. Quite a unique design, and in fact on recent Lamborghinis we've often been seeing quite unusual setups with their rear wings. At the very top is a roof snorkel to help with cool air coming through for the cooling of the 5.2 litre V10. Behind that, a shark fin fin, which helps with the dynamic stability of the car at speed, but the width of it, the sheer width, is just incredible. Clearly wider than the standard Huracan EVO, with the new fenders that both incorporate a NACA duct, a technology used to accelerate the airflow, again coming in for the cooling of the engine, but also to streamline the shape of the car in the way that they're designed, with these unusual pieces that I would say almost the fins that almost stick up towards the top, again directly incorporated from the Super Trofeo EVO race car, and also the guiding of the air around towards the sides at the very back as well. Around towards the rear, a lot of openings for cooling, for airflow, for the swelling of the air that comes out from the wheel arches, but also a very aggressive diffuser, the two large round circular exhaust tailpipes, and traditional Lamborghini styling, of course emphasised here with the dual tone colour scheme that you have across the entirety of the car, seen in this example in blue, Lofay and Arancio, California, the two colours, the blue and orange, but customers will be able to choose exactly what they're going to have on their STOs. But very much a car that you can tell just looking at it is about downforce and aerodynamics. In fact, it offers 53% more downforce overall than even was achieved by the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. The beating heart of the STO is the familiar Huracan engine. Like I said, the 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10. In this case, like in the Performante and in the EVO, but as I said, more than in the Huracan rear-wheel drive, it makes 640 horsepower and 585 newton meters, which means thanks in this case to the rear-wheel drive, but with the 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox now reprogrammed for faster shift times, it does the 0 to 100 km/h sprint, or 62 miles per hour, in 3 seconds dead, and 0 to 200 km an hour, 124 miles per hour, in 9 seconds flat. It will go to a top speed of 310 km an hour, or in miles per hour, 193, but of course with rear-wheel drive it's going to be quite a different driving experience. Mechanically as well, it has the Magna Ride 2.0, the upgraded system, as well as the Huracan EVO's rear-wheel steering, but connected now to a more direct steering rack too, to enhance the driving experience. The interior continues the weight-saving theme. We have swathes of Alcantara across the dashboard, also for the steering wheel, where the ANIMA selector at the bottom now offers new driving modes. There's also lots of carbon fibre, so no floor mats, those are replaced by carbon skin, as are the door cards, large pieces of carbon fibre you see there. The technology continues through from the Huracan EVO, so the digital dashboard and the digital screen in the centre for the HMI, all of which now offers new features and displays as well, which we'll get to in a moment. The digital dashboard itself shows you a different appearance depending on the driving mode, but with a prominent rev counter loud and proud. At the moment it's actually in the STO mode, which is the standard sporty road driving mode, but you can turn that up to Trofeo, which is effectively full track attack. Things start to go red, and as you can see there's a lower rev counter until the engine has warmed up, and then you can also go into Pioggia mode, which is effectively for driving in the rain, the Italian word for rain. But when you're in Trofeo, this is where the car configures through the LDVI, Lamborghini Dinamica Veicolo Integrata, the various systems, technology and functionality, for example the rear wheel steering, the traction control, and the different systems themselves to customize it for that driving environment. So Trofeo out on dry asphalt when you're going full speed on the racetrack, exactly where I think this car is designed to spend the majority of its time. Looking around in the central console, like I said, the full system that was introduced with the EVO, in fact we saw it before in the super special series, the Centenario, but the system that offers various displays, including when you're in the Trofeo mode, you also have the brake temperature monitoring to significantly help with the braking that you have in the car with the CCM-Rs to extend their longevity. When you flip up the switch, that's when you can press the start button to wake things up and start to see some of these different modes where you have the infotainment, your usual navigation, your media controls, the things that you would expect to find and have available to you through the interface of the car. It's still a road car at the end of the day, offering all of the functionality and settings that you might like to have in the more normal environment. But here, for example, you can see some of the driving configuration. In general terms, you have the controls on the steering wheel. The indicators are actually both on the left side and the wipers on the right. It does take a little bit of getting used to drive a Huracan, but if you're familiar with the earlier models, it does start to make some sense. And as I said, the dashboard changes its appearance and gives you a slightly different display. Now the car has a different development or variant, I guess we could say, of ALA, Lamborghini's airflow system, which you do more manually through the rear wing. But there again, we can get a quick glimpse at some of the tyre information that it tells us. You can see the brake graphics, but also the temperatures and pressures that go along with the tyres and the LDVI settings as you've got it set up. Now this is cool. the new bucket seats. I do think it's a slightly funny design, but you can see how they've added more padding than previously found in the Performante and the Aventador SV and SVJ, something that I've always complained about myself. The car comes with a titanium roll cage occupying that small storage area that you have behind the seats, and 4-point seat belts themselves as well for additional stability and security on the racetrack, and always an exciting experience, as well as some nice details in general in terms of the piping and the inserts and styling, with just lots of Alcantara all around, for example for the headliner of the car as well on the interior, to make you feel like you're genuinely in a race car, in something very much fit for purpose, a proper track tool, and that's exactly what this is. The embroidered Lamborghini logos, the STO logos in the back of the seats, I think it looks serious, but that small area behind the seats in a Huracan Coupe was previously an opportunity or a place where you could manage to squeeze some bits of luggage. The combination of losing that for the cage and losing the bonnet for the vents mean that this is quite a hard car to actually use on a trip or an adventure, which is quite a serious consideration, I suppose, from my own point of view. But generally speaking, what a cool thing inside. Must be quite an experience to be driving this. You can see the new shift paddles as well, even those cut out to save some weight wherever possible. The car overall is actually 43 kilos lighter than the Performante. Perhaps you might expect it to be a touch more, considering gone is the four-wheel drive system, but in its place, of course, a lot more aerodynamics and in fact more bodywork has been actually added as a result overall. Talking weight, that reduction actually brings the dry weight down to 1,339 kilos, but comparative to some of the super sports car competitors these days, that's not actually all that light, and relatively speaking, it only has 640 horsepower. Now I say only because we're spoilt with cars that often start now with numbers beginning with a 7. Of course, this though is a very extreme proposition, a super lightweight, very focused version. It has a stiffer ride, it has presumably that experience that I expect Lamborghini are going to deliver to a proper extent. It will be quite an exciting thing to get behind the wheel, and we can actually take a listen to the sound of the startup from its V10. It sure does sound good, doesn't it? Nothing like a Lamborghini, especially the sound from their V10s, which is a notable absence from the Shmeemobiles, and we will talk about that in just a moment, but there's nothing quite like the sound of a naturally aspirated engine. The 10 cylinders, it might not have twin turbochargers for additional power, but it does have a glorious engine note as a result. Now what I'm interested to see is how customers will use STOs. While they might look immensely cool crawling through city centres, this is clearly a car for the racetrack. The lightweight, purposeful nature, the stiffer ride that it will have, the sharper steering rack, no practicality really to speak of. This is a car to go out and drive in anger. There are a few more things though that we need to talk about when you look at the car from the outside, and it's a car that has so much going on in terms of the design and the aerodynamics that I think, like with the McLaren Senna and the AMG GT Black Series, it just takes a bit of time to really get accustomed to it and try and understand everything that's happening. When you start at the front, the gaping openings for the cooling that you have coming through, the aerodynamics actually that even use the underfloor of the car and go through towards the diffuser. At the front as well, you have the nose bridge, which is there to direct clean air up over the windscreen and the roof towards the snorkel for the cooling of the engine, while the air that comes out of the vents at the side goes around and can be used more for the aerodynamics, going for example towards the rear wing. You spot as well the very wide arches that contain the louvres, which helps with the air that's swelling in the arches to be released as easily as possible. You also have magnesium wheels, lightweight, increased rigidity, of course more expense that comes with them as well, shod in a special Bridgestone Potenza tyre, 2 options, one for the road and one for the track. Continuing down on this car, as I've said, we've got the blue and the orange colour scheme, which in my eyes isn't perhaps the best for the car, but I've been playing a bit and I think there are some other pretty cool things that might work very well. And of course customers will be able to head to Lamborghini's ad personam department to create and customise their own car to their heart's content. I'm sure there'll be some crazy designs and colour combinations that come along the way, but at the back of the car there's just so much going on. I need to see this car in person myself to really understand it, but talking I guess a bit about my personal situation. Now, as as many of you will know from a video I shot recently, I actually, back at the time, considered buying a Performante. Of course, I have a draw towards track cars, the Senna, the Ford GT, the GT8, the 675 LT, the GT Black Series. You get the story, and I've always been interested, of course, in a time where it would be appropriate to purchase a Lamborghini. I've never owned one. I've been lucky to own Ferraris, McLarens, Aston Martins, Porsches, but never a Lambo. And could the STO be the right car? Well, I knew that this car was going to come. I've heard some rumours, the spy shots, the camo car that was seen earlier in the year, and I got talking to a dealer, and I did put my name down on the list to wait and see what this would be like when the time came. Well, now of course we have the information that I'm sharing with you about it. I'd love to see it in person myself to make a final decision, but I do think this could be quite interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that this should be the first Lamborghini Shmeemobile? That's the decision to be made to find out whether it should be possible. I'm not sure exactly how many of them there will be. Deliveries will start in spring 2021. In the UK, we know that the base price of the car, including taxes, will be £260,000. In Europe, it will be 290 or so thousand euros, and over in the USA, it will be $330,000 plus taxes. And of course, with all of those plus options, and options on these cars can become quite a talking point. Do I think that the STO is going to go and thrash the Nürburgring lap record, as I hoped about a month or so that it might? Well, I think that's going to be a tall order. It is still up there with the weight of the GT Black Series, but almost 100 horsepower down, and well, aerodynamics wise, I'm not quite sure how those stack up. Of course, a significant increase on the Performante, which is already a very, very fast car. So time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. For now though, a first look at the brand new Lambo, the latest Raging Bull, the Huracan STO, the Super Trofeo Omologato, the homologated version of the Super Trofeo EVO race car, and what a wild thing it is. I can't wait to see it in person. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Do let me know your thoughts below. Should that be the first Shmeemobile Lambo? That's it for now though. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!